Part 3. His physical appearance. It is from the Sunnah, the custom of Allah, to send down prophets and messengers with the most perfect characteristics, both inner and outer. The prophets not only had beautiful characteristics and mannerisms, but they were all handsome in nature. Yusuf alone was said to have had half of all beauty. The predominant view among scholarship is that this refers to half of the beauty of mankind in its entirety. There is, however, another scholarly opinion that states that this refers to half of the beauty of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Al-Rubayyi bint Muawwid was asked about the appearance of the Prophet, and all she could say was,
"My son, if you could have seen him, you would have thought that the sun had risen up."
In a perfect juxtaposition, Ka'b ibn Malik described him as the moon. Whenever the Prophet was happy, his face would light up as if it were the full moon. Likewise, Jabir ibn Samura said,
"I saw the Prophet walking one night, and beside him was a full moon. By Allah, he was more beautiful in my eyes than the full moon."
Ammar ibn Alas, once a staunch opposer of Islam. A noteworthy point can be made here about different types of opposition within the Quraysh. Some opposed the Prophet, and did so by employing dirty and unsavory tactics. There were others, however, that were in opposition but within limits and with dignity. Allah eventually guided all of the latter, which included Khalid ibn al-Walid, Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl, Ammar ibn Alas, and Abu Sufyan, amongst other notable figures in Islam. Ammar ibn Alas said,
"There was nothing more beloved to me than to stare at the face of the Prophet, and I would never suffice myself from looking at him. However, were you to ask me how to describe him, I could not, as I would lower my gaze out of awe."
Anas ibn Malik was introduced to the Prophet at the age of 7 after his mother gifted him to the Prophet as a helper. Through this blessing of a relationship, we are relayed the most explicit description of our noble Prophet.
The Prophet was neither very tall such that he stood above a crowd, nor was he short such that he would be overlooked. He was not extremely yellow nor dark brown.
The Arabs in the 7th century AD would describe someone as yellow, whom a 21st century audience would describe as white. They referred to the Romans as Banu al-Asfar, the yellow people. Likewise, what the Arabs would refer to as white, a 21st century audience would refer to as tanned. The tone of the Prophet, like that of most of his tribe, was a wheatish-brown complexion.
His hair was not in curls, nor was it completely straight. I have not felt any velvet or silk softer than his hair, nor have I smelled musk or perfume more fragrant than the Prophet.
Ali ibn Abi Talib said,
"The Prophet did not have a very fleshy face, nor was it completely round. He had a white face with a red tinge, that is tanned. His eyes were large with jet-black pupils, and his lashes were long. His joints were large, as was his upper back. He was not hairy all over his body, but he did have a fine line of hair extending from his chest to his navel. When he walked, he did so briskly, as if he were descending a slope. When he turned to face you, he would turn with his whole body. Between his two shoulders was the seal of prophethood, a physical mark on his body that was given as a sign of his prophethood. It is described as an outgrowth of hair of a different color shaped like a small oval, akin to a pigeon's egg. Whoever unexpectedly saw him would stand in awe of him. Whoever accompanied him and befriended him loved him. I have never seen anyone before him or after him like him."